Is medical coding hard? What is medical terminology? Is medical terminology hard? See, I heard your question through the camera, through the TV, through the phone. Yeah, I'm good. No, to answer the first question, what is medical terminology as it relates to medical coding? Medical terminology is as simple as the word, and this is what we're talking about today, as the word says, terminology, the study of terms, medical. So medical terminology is the study of medical terms. We use medical terminology in medical coding, not to the extent of a surgeon, right? However, we are reading odd reports and medical literature during our coding day. So we need to have a foundation, of medical terminology. So sit back, relax. I promise you're going to be so smart after this video. Okay. Well, first off, let me welcome you to my channel. My name is Tasha Jones, and on this channel, we educate, empower, and evolve. So with that being said, today I thought we would go through medical terminology, because I hear that a lot. Oh my gosh, do I have to take college for medical terminology? What is that? So I'm going to break it down, and I also have a whiteboard that'll further, if you're more visual. I know a lot of our seasoned people are more visual, or you might just want to see it and not hear me speak about it. So like I said, after I go through a little bit of what medical terminology is, I'm going to include a video that's over on my course, and it's more of a breakdown of a whiteboard. So today, medical terminology, and I'm using my book. This book is free to my students, but yeah. Anyway, medical terminology. To code medical procedures and diagnoses accurately, you must first learn the language of medicine. The best way to learn medical terminology is by understanding word parts or elements of medical language, root words, prefixes, and suffixes. That's what makes up the medical term. And today I'm just going to show you how you already use medical terminology in your day-to-day. So it's not, it's not going to be like learning French. It is a foreign language, but it's not like learning Spanish if you don't speak Spanish, or French or Swahili, or a language like that. But you do have to know how the terms are broken down. So once you know the prefix, roots, and the suffix, you'll be able to decipher hundreds of thousands of medical terms, right? So the base of the word is considered the root. Root words can stand alone as the main portion of a medical term. A prefix, suffix, and a combining vowel may accompany it. So for example, you're like, Tasha, what is all of this jargon? So for example, something that you probably always say or you've heard is, I'm going to look at the prefix OR. Or in the medical sense, is relating to mouth. So are you thinking about oral? You see how oral, the oral is mouth, O-R, mouth. Or when we're looking at, say, if you've heard someone had to get their tonsils removed, tonsillectomy. So once the whiteboard shows, you'll see more where you'll have like the root, the suffix, and the prefix. So tonsillectomy, the surgical removal of your tonsils. Ectomy, surgical removal, tonsil, of your tonsils. If you've known someone with the diagnosis of bronchitis, we know that itis, the itis, is like an inflammation. And we have bronch, which is the bronchioles. So you have an inflammation of the bronchioles. So bronchitis, tonsillitis, inflammation. Did I say tonsils? No, tonsillectomy. Tonsillitis, the inflammation of the tonsils. I'm like, I know we just said tonsillectomy, but tonsillitis. So I just want to break down, like, we use these words day to day, not all of them, but you'll be surprised that you're using medical terminology already. You're just not using it maybe at work on the level of medical coding. And what else did I want to discuss? So it's like, I don't want people to think that's the first thing. They shoot themselves to self-sabotage. I don't know what medical terminology. Do I have to know that to do coding? Yes, but like I said, not to the level of a surgeon, right? So, and I'm looking in this book. This book, handy dandy book, goes along with the course. But like I said, once you know the root of a word, the suffix, and the prefixes, the prefix, you'll be decoding hundreds of thousands of medical terms. So, without further ado, I'm going to watch this. It's 4 minutes, but watch this whiteboard where it's breaking down what I just explained using the prefix, the suffix, and the root to work out your medical terminology.
As a medical coder, you must be well-versed with medical terminologies and some basic human anatomy before you deep dive into more advanced medical coding topics. This is particularly true for medical terminology. As these terms become your daily bread and butter, knowing how to break them down and making sense from an etymological perspective becomes super important. In medical terminology, the use of a single medical term can provide much depth and detail with regards to the disease or condition, which usually takes more words to describe accurately. For example, a medical term like appendectomy describes the process of surgical removal of the appendix. Just imagine how easy it gets to use this term around when you're dealing with hundreds of such cases every day. Also, with a proper understanding of the basic building blocks of a medical term, you have much more context when it comes to coding treatments and procedures that pertain to a specific body part. Becoming a pro with medical terminology will help you stand out from the crowd as an experienced and professional coder, and we will help you reach there in no time. In this video, we'll discuss how you can take individual components that constitute a medical term and put them together to form meaningful medical terms that specify diagnosis, diseases, and procedures with ease. So, let's get started. The big three: prefix, roots, and suffixes. A medical term can be broken down into three basic constituents, namely root, prefix, and suffix, aka the big three. These three units together make up the medical term, and by changing either one of them can mean something completely different. Medical terms start with the prefix, and just remember this when it comes to prefixes. Prefix provides context. They act as modifiers or adjectives that help alter the meaning of the root word, like the word ultrasound, which you might have probably heard of. It has the prefix ultra that basically means extra or something that is beyond its normal scope. The best thing about prefixes is that you might already be familiar with a lot of them, as they overlap with our everyday vernacular, and this helps save a lot of time. Now comes the root, which exists at the center of a medical term and specifies which body part we're dealing with. And finally, a medical term ends with the suffix. The suffix indicates the verdict, which can be a condition, disease, or procedure that's to be carried out. It tells you what exactly is happening with the body part that is specified by the root. For example, consider retinoblastoma, which is tumor affecting the eye. Here the suffix used is -oma, which refers to a tumor. Like prefixes, you'll be easily able to guess suffixes, as it aligns with normal day-to-day English. Okay, so far you know what these parts basically are. Now, let's try building a few medical terms using these three components. A medical term that ends with the suffix itis denotes an inflammation. Similarly, the suffix ectomy represents any kind of surgical removal, and urea denotes something about the urine or in the urine. Let's now try combining these suffixes with the word roots and see what we can come up with. We know that the word root arthro refers to the joint and the suffix itis for inflammation. And when we combine them, omitting the O since the suffix starts with a vowel, we get the term arthritis, which is the inflammation of one or more joints in the body. Let's take the root tonsillo and the suffix ectomy. The root tonsillo represents the tonsils, and ectomy represents surgical removal. And by combining them, we get the medical term that describes the procedure of tonsillectomy, which is the surgical removal of the tonsils. In the previous two cases, we didn't have a prefix. Let's see one such example. The prefix tachy means rapid or faster than normal limits. If we attach the root cardi, which pertains to the heart, and suffix along with it, it becomes tachycardia, which literally means a heart rate that is faster than normal limits. Super easy, right? If you know what each individual block means, you can easily figure out the whole thing. It's as simple as that. So we hope that this video increases your confidence in handling medical terms. Now it's time for you to take out some common medical terms that represent conditions, procedures, or diagnosis, and try to deconstruct them into their constituent parts. Until then, happy coding!
See, that wasn't bad at all, was it? You can do that, right? Just get you some, look, this is written on, but index cards are good for putting your roots, suffix, and prefix. And just throughout the day, you could carry these in your car, you know, put them in a place that you frequent in your home. You could hang them on the refrigerator. You know, when I was going through medical terminology, I kept these everywhere with me. So that's a good way. If you want a more comprehensive approach to learning the support of learning medical terminology, I invite you to go to our website, www.toshtalkscoding.com. There you'll be able to get the course. There's 2 packages you can choose. One is with group coaching. The other is group coaching as well as one-on-one coaching. But in the course, you'll be provided quizzes, assessments, flashcards in this module to help you learn medical terminology and support you in that way. I don't think I've introduced myself. For those of you new to the channel, welcome. For those of you who have already subscribed, welcome back. My name is Tasha Jones, and I have been in the medical coding space for close to 25 years now. I've worked in inpatient coding, outpatient coding, emergency room coding. I've done auditing, traveled overseas to teach people how to do medical coding right here in the United States. Because most larger facilities, we have a shortage of medical coders in the United States, so they outsource. They will outsource coders for that. I've done consulting. I've worked government contracts. I've been a consultant. And of course, I'm an entrepreneur to TTC Academy, where we offer medical coding courses, medical auditing courses, CDI courses. And I know you're not here to hear about me, but I wanted you to know that if you do sign up for the course or want the mentorship and the coaching in medical terminology, your girl got you, right? The course is it's wonderful. There have been so many people who have been on to work in the coding industry. Some of my students, they may take 8 to 10 weeks to finish the course. It's lifetime access. For some of the students who come in where they're juggling work, life, and home, and children, and still working, the course is, you go at your own pace. It's very comprehensive, but it allows you to space it out to be able to obtain a skill, a high-level skill, an in-demand skill with upward pay. So I invite you to go over and look at, look at the website, see if this is something you want to do. This was just a mini breakdown of medical terminology. I hope it has helped you. If it has, please like the video, comment, maybe some questions that you have regarding medical terminology. Subscribe to the channel. I'm actually putting together a playlist on the many modules that you'll probably have to know to enter the medical coding field. And like I said, if this is something that interests you and you want to be coached and mentored by someone in the profession who has hands-on experience, have worked in the larger hospitals, 35 states within the United States, and has a lot of experience with auditing and medical coding, I invite you to book a consult with me or tune into the next video. We'll be going over documentation and standards in coding, and we'll actually get through some of the ICD-10 and the ICD-PCS coding as well. So thank you again for watching. I'll see you in the next video.